Can you all see the poll?
Yes,
Cool.
we can see it. So the first question in the poll is, where are you working? So we've got global processes, regional processes, national processes, local processes, and other spaces. So for those of you who are able to, feel welcome to select where you're working. There's also a second question as part of the poll, which is, how many times have you attended CSW? So for many of you, it may be your first time, 2 to 3 times, 4 to 5 times, 6 to 10 times. And I know there are many in the movement who have been attending the CSW for more than 10 times. So just to give us a sense of the experience in the room. Okay. So I don't know how we're doing with those results. Are we able to share those?
Yes, they are sharing. Hold on, let me stop and reshare maybe.
Okay.
Can you see them?
Perfect. Yes. Okay. So we can see majority of people are at the global level where they're working. And then kind of second comes in at local processes. And for how many times you've attended CSW, majority 58%, this is your first time. So a very warm welcome to those who are joining the CSW for the very first time. So I see that many of us here are connected in. I should just introduce myself. My name is Safira Rameshvar. I'm serving as one of the co-chairs of the Youth Leaders and Young Professionals of the NGO Committee on the Status of Women, also on the Executive Committee of NGO CSW. Jillian and I, who I will introduce in just a second, have been kind of overseeing this orientation and advocacy kind of committee to help all of our members ramp up to the CSW. So with that, I will hand over to the co-chairs of the NGO CSW Forum. I'll introduce Rosa and Pamela to officially welcome you to the forum.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pamela Morgan, co-chair of the NGO CSW66 Forum. I want to welcome you and to celebrate with you the fact that we made it. We're here after a long winter, and I'm just very pleased that everyone is going to have the opportunity to take advantage of this wonderful program that Safira and Jillian have developed. And with that, I'll turn it over to my co-chair. In fact, I don't think Rosa is here yet. So yeah, back to you, Safira.
Thank you, Pam. We will now hand over to Huri, who is the chair of NGO CSW, to say a few opening words.
Thank you, Safira, for all the hard work you and Jillian put into this orientation. Thank you, Devin, for taking care of all our background tech stuff. And welcome, as Pamela said, we are so happy to have you here. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. The only message I want to give you is that take advantage of this opportunity. We've worked really hard to bring as many diverse intersectional voices as possible so that we can inspire each other, we can bring information to each other, and we can bring that into member states. You will learn a lot about this morning and tomorrow morning. We have advocacy and training. I hope you will be joining us there as well, where what it is that we do here, especially for first timers. I remember the first time I was here 10 years ago. It was overwhelming. It was in person, of course. I was at the church center and there was orientation. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of information. But trust me, just one step at a time. And I know many of you know a lot already on how to advocate on local level, on global level. But what it is that we're doing at NGO CSW is really making sure that we are a collective voice of diverse approaches, so that when we are speaking to member states, to UN Women, we can say, yes, this is what we heard. And sometimes even sentence that you put in the chat actually inspires us to take some action. So be brave, share your opinions. Chat is a fabulous place to be heard. So every meeting that you're in, use the chat to your power. Thank you so much, Safira, and I'll see you all later.
Right. Thank you, Huri. Not only a welcome, but some tips. Thank you so much for that. So I'd now like to introduce Jillian, who is also the co-chair of this Orientation and Advocacy Committee, to give us an overview of our time together and the purpose of this orientation. So over to you, Jillian.
Thanks, Safira and Pam and Huri for starting us off. Welcome, welcome everyone. Welcome from wherever you're joining. Let's start today with me telling you a bit of what's stored for our time together. We'll start with an informational session. Safira will walk you through an overview of CSW, what is the commission, who's in the commission, a few overarching details. I will share with you the plethora of events that we've got planned over the next 2 weeks, and you are welcome to just connect, join, and attend as many sessions as you like. In order to help you advocate and connect, we have a virtual platform. Devin will take you through a short demonstration on the navigation of this platform, and she will be followed back again by Pam, who will share advice and tips on how to advocate in this hybrid in-person digital sphere that we've got going on just now. But we're not done with all of what I just said, and we also have details for our young leaders and young professionals, and we will share all the events and timelines. But not to worry, all of this information is also on the website, and I encourage you to take as much advantage as you can of all of these opportunities. So welcome again, and with that, I'd like to hand over to Safira to start us off.
Thank you, Jillian. Okay, so as soon as we get the slides up, I'm going to give you an overview of the CSW. So the first thing that I wanted to show you is the overall UN structure. So if we can head to the next slide, I wanted to show you where the Commission on the Status of Women fits within the system. So under the UN principal organs, we have the Economic and Social Council, which holds a series of functional commissions every year. And you can see in the part that is zoomed in, one of these commissions is on the status of women. So what is the CSW? If we head to the next slide, it's the principal global intergovernmental body, which is exclusively dedicated to the promotion of gender equality and the empowerment of women. And it's instrumental in promoting women's rights. It's in documenting the reality of women's lives throughout the world, in shaping global standards on gender equality and the empowerment of women. So over the next 2 weeks, we'll have representatives of member states, government delegations, UN entities, of course, ECOSOC accredited NGOs and civil society from all around the world who are invited to contribute to this session. And there are 2 main themes that we'll be following. So if we go to the next slide, many of you will be familiar. The priority theme is on achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls in the context of climate change, environmental and disaster risk reduction policies and programs. And also this year, there's a review theme. So this was the priority theme from the 61st session of CSW. And so basically we're looking back to this theme of women's economic empowerment in the changing world of work and trying to understand progress that has been made since then. A lot of what happens at CSW as well, if we move to the next slide, is that we're also going to be discussing progress and gaps in the implementation of the Beijing Platform for Action. So many of you will remember in 1995, there was this conference that was held in Beijing, China, that came up with these 12 critical areas of concern. And this document was a key global policy document on gender equality. So these 12 critical areas of concern, you can see the symbol here, but it ranges from education and training of women all the way to women in poverty, the girl child. And in 2020, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of the Beijing Platform for Action. which due to the pandemic, we celebrated last year in 2021. Many of you would have heard of the Generation Equality Forum. So this continues to be something that we're trying to advance and understand progress around these critical areas of concern. Another framework that we're working under, if we move to the next slide, thank you, is the Sustainable Development Goals. So this is a collection of 17 interlinked global goals that are designed to be this blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for everyone. And so these were set up in 2015 by the United Nations General Assembly, and they are intended to be achieved by the year 2030. And so you can see that goal number 5 is gender equality, but also the achievement of gender equality is integral to each of these 17 sustainable development goals. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to make these connections and see how we're advancing along these gendered indicators as well. So we'll move to the next slide. And I just wanted to introduce to you the Bureau of the Commission on the Status of Women for this year. So the commission is made up of 45 member states who serve on the commission at any one time. Members are elected for a period of 4 years. And so the Bureau is key in terms of facilitating the work of the commission. And so there's a rotation of 5 member states from different regions around the world. And so for this year, we have South Africa from the African States Group, who will be serving as the chair. We have Argentina representing the Latin American and Caribbean States Group. We have Germany for the Western European and other states group, Latvia for the Eastern European States Group, and the Republic of Korea for the Asia and Pacific States Group. And so they will play a crucial role in facilitating and ensuring the successful outcome of this annual session of the Commission. And so many of you will also be following kind of the Commission's consideration of the priority theme, which will take the form of agreed conclusions, which will be negotiated by member states. And we'll hear a little bit more towards the end of our time together about what that looks like and what that process is. So I know that Rosa isn't here yet. Is Rosa on the call? Otherwise, I might just do Rosa's part. So if we move to the next slide, I wanted to just explain the difference. So it's clear in our minds what the difference is between NGO CSW, the NGO CSW Forum, and the UN Commission on the Status of Women. So if we move to the next slide, this is just a really nice summary. So the NGO CSW Forum is organized by the NGO Committee on the Status of Women in New York, which is a civil society organization. The Civil Society Forum is not part of the formal UN system. So when I showed you that diagram earlier, it's not part of that system, but really it's a platform for civil society to share, to connect, to engage. Many of you will be familiar with the platform, and we'll see a demonstration of that a little later on. You do not need to be an ECOSOC accredited organization to attend the NGO CSW Forum. And we'll be hosting a lot of these parallel events really to support your engagement, to really hear what's happening at the grassroots. So NGO CSW Forum is separate. The UN Commission on the Status of Women is organized by UN Women, which is a United Nations entity. It's official. You must be ECOSOC accredited to attend many of those sessions, especially for those who are wanting to attend in person, and there have been restrictions on those who are able to attend in person here in New York due to the pandemic. And the UNCSW has side events that are hosted by member states, UN agencies, and ECOSOC accredited NGOs. So just so as you're navigating the CSW, you have clear in your mind the distinction between the NGO CSW Forum and the UN Commission on the Status of Women. So I'll hand back to Jillian to give us a little bit more detail about the NGO CSW Forum.
Thanks, Safira. So let's talk about the NGO CSW Forum. What is it that we are doing? What is it that we are offering you to help you navigate this virtual world, and how can you best advocate? So next slide, please, Devin, thanks. So let's start with some of the events that we've have going on. We started yesterday with Consultation Day. We hosted a hybrid half-day event of learning, conversation, and entertainment to prepare for the upcoming Commission on the Status of Women. If you missed it, you can catch the recording on our YouTube channel. But what we've got going on is virtual parallel events over the next 2 weeks of the Commission. NGO CSW has organized a virtual platform so that you as CSOs can host your events. This year we have over 750 events registered. All you need to do as an individual is register on the portal. You can view the list of events that are being hosted, and you can register and attend any one of them. We're also hosting conversation circles. What's a conversation circle? This is a virtual place where you can raise issues and exchange ideas on different topics. Each conversation will present a specific topic related to Generation Equality Action Coalitions and the theme of this year's commission. Each conversation circle is guided by 2 facilitators who are experts on the topic. Everyone is welcome, but please remember this is a virtual space, so you need to register ahead of time. We also have virtual exhibit halls. These are booths in the exhibit hall that are essentially a hub for all of your organization's work. You can find information about an organization, download materials, videos. There's a chat feature where you can participate with the or converse with the exhibitor. You can also see parallel events through the exhibition booth. We have a virtual artisan fair. Our virtual doors are open to both artisans and attendees from around the world. If you want to shop, get some authentic jewelry, home essentials, the platform hosts global artisans, and all proceeds go to the artisans, and their organizations. But we also have regional caucuses at this forum, and each of them will be holding briefings. You are welcome to check the schedule on the website for details of each of the briefings, attend, find out what's going on, keep yourself more informed. Because of COVID and how we, drastically just switched over to a completely virtual environment, and we're now coming back into a hybrid, somewhat in-person space, we've decided to take our advocacy online. So we recommend you follow us on any of the social platforms of your convenience. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And you will hear today from Pam this committee's support for 6 recommendations to the member states. We've launched an open video challenge, and I ask each of you today, take a moment, just a moment, record and share your video on what it is that you support for this commission. Tag us, use the hashtag ARG video challenge, and we're happy to share as much as we can of your voices as well. Let's not forget that this year is the committee's 50th anniversary, and we welcome you to join us to the virtual celebrations throughout the year. But we begin with a kudo board. So what's a kudo board? Think of it as a greeting card that gets passed around and signed, but this is a little more fun, customizable e-card format. So you can attach messages, photos, videos, either of your experience at a past CSW or something you wish to share for the year ahead. So please go ahead. You can find the details in chat as well as on the website. We're also going to be hosting something pretty unique, which is mentorship events. We are organizing 2 events. One's already happened and the next is on the 23rd of March. Devin and Safira will talk a little more about it. This event is being hosted on Remo, which is another virtual platform. So if you're not familiar with it, here's a good chance to learn something new. But be rest assured, this information overload that I've just given you is all available on our website. So you can take the details from there And with that, I'm going to stop and hand over back to Devin. So Devin, floor is all yours.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to switch to a different slideshow and share my screen for our virtual portal. Okay, everyone can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see it.
Cool. So hello, everyone. Let me just turn this on Do Not Disturb. Okay. So here is our virtual portal. I put the registration. Oops, sorry, my cats are throwing stuff. I put the link to the registration in the chat. I'll put it there again as soon as I'm done talking. But if you are not registered for the full forum, please do so you can access our virtual portal. When you register, you will get a confirmation email with a link to access the portal and set up your profile on our portal. So I'll just do a little overview of how to navigate and where to find different things. So here's the homepage. I will actually just say as a disclaimer that you do have to be logged into your profile with a profile on the portal to see any event details, access exhibit booths and handbook ads, etc. So definitely make sure you're registered with a profile because without it, you'll be able to see a lot of the stuff on the portal, but you won't really be able to engage or see any of the event details. So with all that being said, here's the homepage. We have some FAQs that you can download. I'll also put these in the chat a little bit later. If you're new to the space or have questions, these are definitely a great resource. We had our consultation day yesterday. We have several tutorial videos, which I'll also put in the chat later. This is a video that's just not fully loaded. Definitely check out all of our events during the forum. Jillian went over them, but this is a calendar of all of them. And if you click on this, it will bring you to a downloadable calendar where you can then click on the title of each event to register. So if I want to register for our advocacy training session tomorrow, I just click on that title and it brings me to the Zoom registration. We have our virtual safety guidelines. I'll definitely put these in the chat as well. Make sure you read these and understand them. We do take them very seriously. If you do have any issues or any experiences of harassment or just anything where you feel uncomfortable, please feel free to email us at virtualsafety@ngocsw.org. We do monitor this inbox very regularly, and we will address any concerns immediately. So if you're feeling uncomfortable or questioning anything at all, feel free to email us there. We have some more information about the CSW and our 50th anniversary, as well as our Global Planning Committee. We have a group of people who helped us put this whole forum together, so definitely check those out as well. For the schedule of events, it's located here in schedule. As you can see, there's an option for agenda and my agenda. Agenda is the full schedule of everything. My agenda is the events that you've added to your own schedule so you can keep track of what you want to join. So when you click agenda, it gives you the full list of all almost 800 events, which is why it takes a second to load. So as you can see, here's all the events. And then to add an event to your agenda, you just have to click the little green plus sign here, and it'll add it to your agenda. And then when you go to your agenda, it's a nice compilation of the things that you want to join or are interested in. So that is nice and convenient. So you don't have to scroll through all of them every time to go to the events that you want to join. You can see all of the participants and attendees and people here. You can also direct message people on the forum. Everyone has profiles, so you can check out people's profiles and contact them if you wish. We have some advocacy information here. Definitely check out our advocacy and research group, which I believe we'll be talking a little bit about during this session, as well as our advocacy training guide, which is a great resource for all things advocacy at the CSW. We have our exhibit hall here. So this is, as Jillian mentioned, all of our exhibit booths, virtual exhibit booths, where you can click on them to join. And then each exhibit booth has its own page with information about the organization or the group, the events that they're hosting. You can chat with them here. Another really fun thing, I guess, about the exhibit booths is that there's a talk now feature, which essentially is a way to like meet and greet the exhibit booths representatives. So each exhibit booth will have this little box of talk now. If the representative is available, like if I switch my toggle on, it'll show a little green dot here, which shows that they are available to talk. And once you click this, it will open up a call where you can talk to people. I don't think it'll really work for me because, yeah, so it calls them and whoever picks up. So those are exhibit booths. Handbook ads are our handbook sponsors. So we do have our handbook published. I'll put the link in the chat. The handbook has all things about the forum in it. It has the list of events. It has the handbook ads, but it also has some exclusive statements from the PGA, the UN Women Executive Director, the CSW Chair, Hootie is our chair. So feel free to download that and kind of peruse that. And then if you scroll down, here's all of our handbook ads. So kind of similar where they have their own page with all of their information. However, with handbook ads, there is no talk now or meet and greet, but you can message them or start a conversation here in that tab. We have an artisan fair. So all of these shops are available to visit and buy stuff. All of them, all of the proceeds go to helping an organization specifically for women's rights. So feel free to peruse this as well. And then the last thing is just, engaging other participants. There are a couple of different ways to do so. We do have a message board, which is kind of like a social media-esque feed where anyone can post here if you wanted to promote your event maybe or anything else, or kind of post a general call for something. This is the place to do it. And then we also have, you can, your inbox is here. This has any direct messages. I won't open this just because I do have a couple of direct messages, but you can message people directly. Let's see. So I'll just show you my profile as an example. So profiles, people can upload their photo, their region, a short description or bio, the topics of focus that they're interested in. And then there will be a button here that says, message or something like that. Obviously, I can't message myself, so it doesn't show for me, but that's a way to get in touch with people without necessarily sharing, your email or anything, too private. So that is also a great resource for just engaging with other participants. Yeah, I think that's it for me. I'll put a bunch of those links in the chat, and feel free to email us with any questions or issues you're having with the platform as well.
Thank you so much, Devin. It's so nice to be walked through the platform, and you do so thoroughly. Thank you. So I'll now hand over to Pamela, who's going to share some tips about advocacy, about engaging at the Commission. So over to you, Pam.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Advocacy is defined as any action that speaks in favor of, recommends, argues for a cause, supports or defends, or pleads on behalf of others. Here at CSW, we are specifically speaking about how to be effective partners in UN negotiations about women's human rights. The greater question is, how can civil society influence outcomes? That's the crux of our advocacy. Now, it's quite important that we make sure that we're well informed when we try to advocate in this UN space. It's important for you to prepare for your advocacy by conducting research and studying. Once you've become well-versed on the topic, then creating a fact sheet that you can use. Next slide, please. Thank you. Creating a fact sheet on the topic that you can use as needed. Know and understand the issues that resonate with you connected to the priority theme, as well as to the review theme. Instruments, concepts, terms to know include the Beijing Platform for Action, SDGs, UNFCCC, CEDAW, which is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the Global Compacts on Refugees and Migration, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Paris Agreement, Zero Draft. Those are all terms that you're going to hear over and over during this 2-week period. So make sure that you understand the alphabet soup of UN speak. You also need to understand which UN human rights bodies focus on the human rights of women and girls, and which agencies actually influence interactions with women and girls. Moving on the Pathwell platform, use the search facility, as Devin illustrated, to identify like-minded people, and then send them a note or look for ways to contact them. See if you can begin communicating and sharing information, thus expanding your sphere of influence. Also, use the message board and private messages to communicate with others. Use Google. You'll be surprised how many people you can find on Google, and use your networking skills in this environment. By all means, attend virtual, parallel, and side events. If you have questions or comments to contribute to the event, do follow the dictated procedure, which is most often putting your questions, comments in the chat. Please remember to be respectful, even if you disagree. When at the events, take notes, write down the names of speakers who you'd like to learn more about, and then follow up after the session. Conversation circles offer a tremendous opportunity to build advocacy points and to network at the same time. Make all of these events your learning laboratories. If at all possible, meet your country's delegation to CSW. You may be able to speak with them individually ahead of time and provide a point of view that resonate with the delegation. They'll be able to, hopefully they'll be able to use that point and share it with their colleagues who may also be involved in the negotiations. There's still time to do that. NGO CSW New York's Devin and her team have developed a host of tools, including the Ask Me feature that Devin featured during her presentation. They are available on the website and on NGO CSW's YouTube channel. Use them, and do go back to NGO CSW New York's website if you need a pointer. Finally, we're going to speak briefly about the zero draft and how to use it as an advocacy tool. Remember that the zero draft is the first attempt at assembling the agreed conclusions. NGO CSW New York's Advocacy and Research Subcommittee has developed 6 recommendations for including in the CSW66 zero draft. Please check the NGO CSW New York website for the full text of the 6 recommendations. Next slide, please. Here is the essence of the 6 points. Women's leadership in addressing climate crisis, strengthening women's resilience to disaster, disaggregated data on climate-induced displacement, targeted education training on climate change, financing climate mitigation adaptation for women, and ensure women's land ownership and inheritance. And one of the things I'd like to add about this last one is there is a resolution on widows that speaks specifically to this that's going to be adopted by the General Assembly, hopefully this week. So yay for us. There are briefs about each of these 6 points that you can refer to, and I encourage you to become familiar with them because these are advocacy points that you can take on past NGO CSW and CSW66 right into COP27 in Cairo in November, and through the advocacy that you're sure to be doing for the rest of your life. Please be sure to return tomorrow for the advocacy session in order to get in-depth information regarding how you can be more effective in advocating at CSW and during the CSW NGO CSW66 forum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela. So Devin and I are now going to share a little bit about the Youth Leaders and Young Professionals activities and membership. So perhaps I can start with an overview, and Devin will give us a little bit more detail about activities and how to become a member. So basically, the Youth Leaders and Young Professionals is a global network. It's for those who are over 18 up until 40 in the young professionals age group. Really, the purpose of the space is to connect young people together, to support their engagement, to amplify their voices. We convene spaces throughout the year to support the professional development of young people. This year, as was mentioned, for the 50th anniversary, we've been trying to connect young advocates with those who are more experienced in the space. And sometimes those who are very experienced in the space are also other young people who've been engaging for many years. So this idea of mentorship and also peer mentorship and professional development for our young people. It's also a space for young people to share their work and share their advocacy. We hold events around certain themes so that our understanding of these issues is also deepening and exploring ways to input into UN processes. This year, in the lead up to the Commission on the Status of Women, we held a preparation series. So every week for 8 weeks in the lead up to the CSW, we held an event to allow young people, here you can see the themes and the dates, which was a combination of preparing for the space. Our most recent one was an elevator pitch workshop. How do you advocate? How do you engage online? So some of these skills about navigating engagement, but then also some of these thematic themes and how particularly they affect young people, and what specific contributions young people can make to the conversation around these themes and around solutions. So you're very welcome if there are young advocates who are working with you, part of your organization, or who you are connected to, who would like to join the YLYPs, they are very welcome to. And I'll hand over to Devin to explain a little bit more about how to become a YLYP member and some of the activities that are coming up for YLYPs.
Yes, so first, I would say join our mailing list and join our Slack channel to get involved and get all of the updates and stuff from us. Our Slack channel is also a good place to connect with other YLYPs, and I'll send the links in the chat for those. But in terms of what's coming up, we have our global mentors, which we kind of already talked about, but I put the link in the chat to see all of our global mentors. And we do have another meet and greet event coming up on the 23rd as well. But our first event that's happening before that is a youth morning briefing on this Friday at 8 a.m. So this briefing will be a space where young people and member states can hear from each other about youth issues at the CSW, integrating youth in the CSW processes. And yeah, so definitely join that. I'll put the link in the chat for that event. And the second event we're having is the Global Mentors Networking Session, which is happening on Wednesday. So that's next Wednesday, the 23rd of March at noon. I did put the registration link for this, but I'll put it again. And this is going to be a pretty informal space for our YLYPs and our global mentors to essentially just connect and network. As Safira said, we do have, not all the global mentors are older people. A lot of them are also youth as well. So this is just a good place to not only network with the global mentors, but also the other youth who are on the call as well. Yeah, I think that's it. And I'll send the links for the mailing list, the Slack channel, and the event registrations. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Devin. So after all of that information, we are opening up for a panel. So this is your opportunity to ask questions. We will have Huri, our chair of NGO CSW, Pamela, and Rosa. Rosa's here. I don't know, Rosa, if you wanted to say just a couple of words. Welcome. We missed you in the beginning.
Yes, hi, good. Warm greetings to everyone. I did have a couple of technical issues at the beginning, so I do apologize, but I just really want to give a shout out to the organizers, Safir, Devin, and Jillian, really, a core of our youth team here. And thank you for joining us here as we start the NGO CSW Forum and celebrating our 50th anniversary as well. We're really writing the good vibes from our consultation day yesterday. And if you missed it, I recommend you take a peek. We had panels with the chair of the CSW, Ambassador Joyini, the head of UN Women, Seema Bahus, Lopa Banerjee also joined us. We had a feminist action climate justice panel and videos by Fridays for Future youth activists and much more. All of this just underscoring how important it is to engage in the CSW process around these priority themes: climate change, safe environment, and disaster reduction. And these are issues that are also important to us. And we're going to offer so many opportunities, as you're hearing. on the at the NGO forum, but also, on the platform. So many opportunities to get educated, to get connected, to get informed, to advocate for the issues you care about. So many activities. So thank you for joining us. And we look forward to connecting with you online throughout the 2 weeks. Thanks so much, Safira.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rosa. And glad the tech worked out so we could have you here online with us. So as I mentioned, we are going to move into a panel. So we will have Huri as the chair of NGO CSW, Rosa and Pamela as the two co-chairs of the NGO CSW forum. We'll invite Devin also. And this is an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you have at this point about the forum, about the CSW, about anything that you've heard so far. You're welcome to add your questions in the chat or to raise your electronic hand if you would like to speak to your question. And I'll be fielding some of these questions and reading out some of the questions in the chat, and we'll hear from Huri, Pam, Rosa, and Devin any answers or any tips that they can give us. We also have a frequently asked questions document, which will be put in the chat. So that might also answer just any first level questions that you might have about engaging. So with that, we can just open up the floor to anyone who would like to ask a question or ask for any more clarification about some of the things that you've heard on the orientation today. So with that, the floor is open.
I'll just hop in to answer Lauren's question. The question is, can you explain the ticket process for attending in person? There is so the NGO CSW forum is totally virtual. Our only in-person event was yesterday's consultation day. But other than that, they're all totally virtual. So there is no in-person registration or anything.
Devin, perhaps I can just jump in here and, oh yes, Lauren does mean the official UN building. Let me try to explain this. So the UN building was closed to civil society literally until Saturday, 2 days ago. We all got notification, and this actually is the part of the UN that does security health. So it has nothing to do, honestly, well, we can sit here and assume that they did this on purpose. Either they opened it up for CSW or they didn't open it until the day before CSW. Let's not get into, possible scenarios here that could have happened. But the building is now finally open to civil society, but it is not really equipped to welcome CSW participants. So the reason I say that is because usually every year UN Women goes through this process of accepting ECOSOC accredited civil society organizations, and they give them accreditation to come and join the high-level meetings at the UN. That didn't happen. Now, because the building is open, civil society organizations that have annual badges. So each organization used to have 6 to 7 grounds passes, and because of COVID, they have reduced it to only 3. So you have to be part of an ECOSOC accreditation. You have to be part of an organization that gives you access. So if you have a large organization, that organization has to pick 3 people that they want them represented at the UN. And then on top of that, UN Women now in charge of giving access to activists into the UN CSW conversations will give 1 ticket for each organization in the next couple of weeks. I'm sorry if I'm like, this is like, if somebody else actually can explain this on my team, Safira, because I always feel like if two people explain it from how their brain works, more people understand it. Because this is how my brain works, and this is how I explained it. Either Safira or Rosa, if you want to explain what I just said, I think it'll be good to have it explained twice. It is complicated.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, so for those who are ECOSOC accredited, who have New York-based representatives, one person from each organization will be permitted entry in person. There are also special ticketed events where you will need paper tickets to be able to enter, but really that's it. And everyone else has not been encouraged to come in person to New York City at this particular point. I don't know, Rosa, if there's a third explanation or anything else that you would add.
I mean, the only thing that I would add is one of the comments that came yesterday at the consultation day, that it's very little, very late. And that's unfortunate. But I think what we have to focus on is that the first UN meeting that was shut down 2 years ago was the CSW. And I think now this is the first meeting of the UN that is open, and that will set precedent for the other meetings. And that's what's really important. So I think we just have to keep pushing and asking for clarification to provide for people, many who did not come to New York because they really didn't have anywhere to go, since everything's online or a bit hybrid. But I think we just have to take the positive that we can from this and push forward for other meetings and to get information way before.
Also, I just want to add that this doesn't mean you can't really engage with high-level events. There's a link which I will share, and maybe somebody can also do it while I'm talking, on the CSW66 UN Women website that has the listings of side events. A lot of governments are doing wonderful side events that want you to join them. So please use that list and join side events. So side events are high-level events. Parallel events are the CSW, NGO CSW events. And this is something that people get confused all the time. We say parallel events because we're parallel to the high-level official CSW that's happening. But thank you, whoever was so ready. Yes, side event links is in the chat, and there's plenty that you RSVP, you get the link. Some are closed, of course, but there's plenty of choices over there too. And don't forget, we have a high-level event on Tuesday with UN Women, and I just found out yesterday that the chair of CSW wants to join, and that's Ambassador Yoini, who's very civil society friendly, and that's from 1:15 to 2:30. Yes. On Tuesday. Please sign up and join us, because that's your opportunity to engage with UN Women and the chair of CSW. That's pretty high level.
Perfect, thank you. So I see that there's also a question in the chat about how to get to the portal, and is it the same as the app? And I think there've been a few questions about, can I access the portal from my phone? Is the app the same as last year? So I don't know, Devin, if that's something perhaps you could speak to, what's happening with the portal and accessing it on a phone or through an app.
Yes, so there is an app. If you go to your app store and just search NGO CSW66 forum, you should be able to find it, and that is the same as the portal. However, you do still need to register and create a profile on the portal before you download that app, because you won't be able to see everything unless you sign in with a profile.
Perfect, thank you. Any other questions, comments at this point? Hopefully we've caught all of the questions that are in the chat. we'll just give a moment to see if there is anything more. Otherwise, just to give a plug for tomorrow at the same time, so at 8 a.m. New York time, there will be a session that will go a little bit more in depth in terms of advocacy, in terms of the way that we are organizing to contribute to the outcome document process. We will hear from UN Women, from Lopa Banerjee, just about the state of play and where everything is at. And we'll also have others from our executive committee and our chair, Huri, kind of giving a little bit more detail about the advocacy process for the next 2 weeks. And thank you to Devin for putting the registration for the advocacy training session tomorrow in the chat. Okay. I don't see any more comments in the chat or any hands raised. So I'm assuming that at this point, everyone is good. They're confident. They're ready to go out into CSW and engage as part of the first day. So with that, we'll say thank you so much to all of you for joining and to members of our executive committee for sharing as part of the program today.
Thank you all for coming. And if you want to unmute yourself to say goodbye, we'll give you 5-10 seconds to be heard.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
See you
Thanks,
tomorrow
all of
morning,
you.
hopefully at
Bye.
8:30.
Here we go.
Thank
Please do sign up and join events. Add on your calendar all the sponsored events from NGO CSW. You will not regret it. I promise.
Thank you.
Great to see everyone.